This is The Scoop for Wednesday.
I'm Josh Holton with the WMNF News headlines. The annual cost to make ends meet for certain families in Pinellas and Sarasota counties has surged past $100,000. WMNF's Chris Young tells us that's according to a newly released report from the United Way that's raising concerns about affordability in and around Tampa Bay.
The data comes from United Way Suncoast's ALICE report. ALICE stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, Employed. It's households that earn more than the federal poverty level, but less than the basic cost of living for the county. The report shows that across Hillsborough, Pinellas, Sarasota, Manatee, and DeSoto counties, the average survival budget for a couple with 2 small children in 2023 rose to over $96,000, an 8% increase from 2022. Doug Griesenauer is the Vice President of Community Impact of United Way Suncoast.
We know the findings emphasize the urgent need for investments in things like affordable housing, quality childcare, workforce development, access to healthcare, the basic needs for our families.
Griesenauer cited housing and childcare as 2 major contributors to the high survival costs. Chris Young, WMNF News.
A Florida law aimed at stopping kids from attending drag shows will remain blocked. Regan McCarthy reports a federal appeals court yesterday upheld a lower court's temporary injunction against the law.
In the ruling, judges called the law substantially overbroad and agreed with arguments that efforts to bar kids from attending adult live performances, such as drag shows, amounts to a free speech violation under the First Amendment. The legislature passed the law in 2023 as it considered a number of other bills that targeted the LGBTQ+ community. The law does not specifically mention drag performances, but during legislative committee hearings on the measure, the bill's sponsor said he was spurred to file the legislation after seeing advertisements for drag queen story time. Opponents of the law say drag performances are part of the LGBTQ+ culture and can help kids who are part of that community feel seen and recognized. I'm Regan McCarthy.
According to a press release sent by the city of St. Petersburg, Mayor Ken Welch and city officials are highlighting recent infrastructure improvements and hurricane preparedness for the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season, which begins June 1st. To strengthen resilience ahead of the potential storms, the city fast-tracked critical projects at its water reclamation facilities, such as flood-proofing buildings with barriers and waterproof coatings, climate vulnerability projects at both southwest and northeast plants to withstand up to 15-foot storm surges and more. That's all part of the St. Pete Agile Resilience Plan, a $545 million initiative to harden infrastructure and address climate vulnerabilities. The city is holding a Hurricane Preparedness Day May 31st from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Willis S. Johns Recreation Center. For more information, go to stpete.org/hurricane. Florida Attorney General James Uthmeier is defending himself against possible contempt or sanctions from a federal judge for allegedly violating a temporary restraining order blocking a state law targeting undocumented immigrants. The Florida Immigrant Coalition, the Farm Worker Association of Florida, and other plaintiffs filed the lawsuit on April 2nd, alleging that the law violates the Supremacy Clause of the U.S. Constitution because immigration enforcement is a federal responsibility. The U.S. District Judge Kathleen Williams claims Uthmeier undermined her order by sending a letter to law enforcement suggesting the law could still be enforced. Uthmeier's lawyers said he complied with a temporary restraining order by not enforcing the law, SB 4C. Williams has scheduled a May 29th hearing on whether to hold Uthmeier in contempt or sanction him. As Florida Republican leaders are fighting each other amid state budget negotiations, Florida Democrats are throwing barbs at the GOP. House Minority Leader Fentress Driscoll says the fight to reduce spending and lower taxes is due to previous mismanagement by Republicans.
We heard the speaker just say that we have a state budget that's inflated and that it has too much spending. Well, the Republicans have been in charge of the state budget for nearly 30 years now. And if we have such a bloated budget, how are we 50th in teacher pay? And how is there such a lack of housing affordability? And why is it that people can't afford health care? So there's a lot of mixed messaging going on.
Per the state constitution, the legislature is required to pass a balanced budget by July 1st. If not, the state could head for a government shutdown. I'm Josh Holton with the WMNF News headlines.
This is The Scoop, recorded at WMNF Tampa.